everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Oak Road. I'm Amanda, also known as Birch, and this is Drew.
What's up, everybody? Good morning.
Drew is one of our patrons who should be a professional chef, if I'm being 100% honest, but that's a whole different episode. Today, we are going to be making Contra Code IPL crab mac and cheese because he's fancy and I can only make cocktails.
So we're going to be making a IPA mac and cheese with blue crab, and we're going to walk you through the process of making a bechamel, which is that classic French white sauce, and then we're going to turn that into a cheese sauce using some of the Contra Code IPL from Oak Road. So to get that going, I'm going to get you started on your garlic and have you chop those up while I get your fat going for your roux.
Excellent. I'll be chopping the garlic and trying not to hurt myself.
Please don't do that.
Okay.
That would be terrible.
Okay.
All right, so just starting off with your basic roux for your bechamel here for your white sauce, you're going to want to go in with equal parts of fat and flour. And so typically what you would see is in more of a French cuisine, butter. Obviously, butter makes everything better. If you were looking at more of a Cajun cuisine or down in Nolans and you wanted to come up with gumbo or jambalaya, you'd be doing a much darker roux. And could oftentimes be done with oil. So it really doesn't matter, just equal parts of fat and flour. So I've got my fat going in.
There you go. Okay. Do I need it to be smaller, Drew, or is that okay?
That's pretty good. We do want to grab those skins out, though.
Okay, grab the skin. Don't put the skins on
Don't
the
leave your
garlic.
skins on your garlic.
Because that's gross.
They don't cook down, and you will have a fun textural element to your mac and cheese in the finished product.
Don't do that. See? You learn from mistakes, a.k.a. me.
Right. I am going to make a technical call out on your roux here when you're doing this if it's your first time. If you're from the South, you've probably made a roux, you probably made gravy. But if you haven't, don't walk away from your roux. They're easy to burn. And when you burn a roux, everything is bad. You have to start over. So
the more you know.
Don't do that. All right, we got our fat in here. We're bubbling away with our butter. We're going to go in with our flour, equal parts. And we're just going to cook this down.
It already smells delicious because like Drew said, butter makes everything better.
Butter makes everything better.
Mm.
All right, so your roux is going to be a little bit clumpy to start with. Just kind of keep stirring. I like to use a rubber spatula. Some people are purists and think you have to use a wooden spoon. I disagree. You can do it whatever way you want. Just make sure it's something that reaches the bottom of the pot so you're able to scrape off all of the flour and not leave little burnt hot spots.
These are wonderful tips.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to get our roux to a nice kind of blonde, golden-y color. And we're going to go ahead and throw that garlic in here. And we're going to use the fat that we have in here that's hot to go ahead and soften up our garlic. So.
And here we go. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. This is what I'm good at. Look at that.
Just like the Vanna White of the kitchen.
Oh, too kind. Too kind.
All right, cool. So once we get that done, you're going to go 30 seconds or so with our garlic, just to let that soften up a bit. And then a minute to your left, there is a container with milk.
Yes, there is.
All right, here's a trick I'm going to teach you that will make your roux process a lot easier and make your sauce not clumpy. Turn the heat off. If you're using an electric stove or electric oven and you don't have, or electric stovetop, you don't have the ability to just cut the heat. You can just take it off of the heat and set it on another eye. So what we're going to do is grab our whisk. We're going to go in with about a third of that milk and whisk away.
Oh gosh, hold on. I'm going to switch hands.
If you want to be on this side, you can. I can slide around you.
Thank you, Drew. Okay, 1/3. That's math, people. Not my strong suit, but we're doing it.
All right, here's the process where we're actually going to go ahead and add in our Contra Code.
Oh, there you
Because we want to give a little bit of time for our beer to cook off that alcohol. So we don't end up with an alcohol-y flavor in our finished product.
That smells
Alcohol-y is
delicious.
a scientific term.
Right, naturally.
All right, so whisk, 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 whisk. But make sure you take your spatula or your wooden spoon. Like we said, some people are purists. And make sure that you scrape off all the little side corners and everything. Make sure you don't leave lumps of flour burning on the bottom of the pot.
Because that would be disgusting.
Well, burnt flour is not it's not a super flavorful thing.
Oh, I believe that.
It's pretty bitter and gross. All right, so you can go ahead and smell right now. You kind of waft it out a little bit. There is a little bit of that IPL smell in there. You can kind of smell the hops. And while that's coming up to temp, we're going to talk about our cheeses. So, first call out we're going to make, excuse me, is don't skimp on your cheese, people.
So when you're going to make mac and cheese, obviously cheese is half of the dish. So don't skimp on your cheese. It's the one part of this dish you can be a little bit bougie with. So we have a couple different cheeses we're going to use here. And when you're pairing a cheese to a beer, a lot like when you're pairing to a wine, you're going to want to like pair something that goes with it or is a little bit opposite of it. So we're going to go kind of in the same vein with it. So with an IPA or an IPL style beer, you're going to want to go with something that's a little bit more strong and pungent, something that can kind of stand up to that beer. The challenge with going with something like a milder cheese like mozzarella is you're going to lose it completely to that beer and that kind of strength. So we're going with a couple of more pungent cheeses and then a couple of creamier ones to round it out.
So we chose sharp cheddar. This is a 9-month aged sharp cheddar from Vermont.
I love Vermont.
We have some Colby that is actually Amish Colby. And this is going to be just a similar flavor profile to with cheddar, but milder and creamier. This is going to add to our texture of our sauce.
I love the Amish.
And then we have a little bit of mild cheddar. We're using all the cheeses.
Fancy.
Again, it's mac and cheese, so you're supposed to go all the way in. And then, last but not least, keeping that kind of pungent, stand on its own 2 feet flavor, we're going to go in with some Parmesan Reggiano. So, we're going to come off of our heat for a second here, and we're going to start folding in our cheeses. So, going in with our Colby.
Fold in.
Fold in the cheese.
Fold in the cheese. If you watch Schitt's Creek, you get it.
If you know, you know.
What does that mean, David?
It just means you fold it in.
I can't teach you everything.
Can you teach me something?
So this is what it means.
All right, so you're going to get a little more of elbow grease in there, get a little bit more vigorous here.
More vigorous. Got it.
All right, we're going to go in with half of our cheddar here,
Ooh.
our sharp cheddar. And this is going to, once we kind of get this in there a little bit, we'll switch back over to our whisk. I find that using the whisk does actually make it a little bit easier to incorporate.
We're folding it in. It's folding. It's folding hard, you guys.
Oop, drop some on the countertop.
It's okay. It's clean.
It is clean. Amanda wiped it off. All right, more cheese here, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
We're totaling in, I think, at about 3.5 cups of cheese. So, just
hence mac and cheese, like Drew said.
Our seasoning while we're at it. So, one call I want to make is cheddar cheese is oftentimes going to be a saltier cheese. So, and the parm is going to be a saltier cheese. So, when you're adding salt to your cheese sauce, don't go crazy. A little pinch of salt here. You can always taste it and see where it's at. Obviously, do this to your own palate or your own preference. A couple things I like to add are a little bit of dry mustard powder.
Ooh.
You can go in with about half a teaspoon of that. That's going to also mimic those flavors of the IPL. Those kind of bitter, more like strong standalone notes like that. And then classically, a bechamel or cheese sauce would not be a bechamel if it didn't have some ground nutmeg. You can oftentimes do this with a whole nutmeg and grate it just over a microplane or a grater. We're going to use some pre-ground and just go in with just a pinch of it. So you don't want to be, we're not making Christmas cookies, so you don't want to go in with too much nutmeg there, but just a little bit to round that flavor out and kind of make it that classic flavor that you would get.
How interesting. I would have never known that.
Yeah, it's a classic thing. Last but not least, our parm. I'm going to go in with about something like a quarter of a cup. The parm is not really supposed to be the standalone star here. What the parm is actually there for is just that, again, add a little bit of saltiness, a little bit of that funkiness, and play off of the notes from the contracoat. All right, so I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to let you have this one more time.
Yes.
That can sit on that little bowl up there.
Okay.
What we're going to do is just make sure this gets really, really whisked up. And I'm going to add a little bit of pepper.
Ooh. I'm telling you, this is fancy, and I'm into it. Bougie, as they say. The New England bouge is really coming out right now.
Yeah. Now that we have got our cheese sauce done, it is thick, it is rich and creamy. I'm going to take that from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to switch back here. This in the sink so I can rinse it off.
Awesome.
All right, and then we're going to go with our noodles and just fold these into our sauce. And we have a very rich cheddar-y sauce here.
Because I like to call it the nudes, but they're the noodles.
You can use any noodle that you want. I am personally a fan of cavatappi. I think it holds on to your sauce a lot better than like an elbow noodle, but obviously whatever choice you have.
Or you could get the fancy noodles from Lowe's.
The artisan ones.
That started with a C, that were not cavatappi, but I tried really hard.
It's fine. All right, so you're just going to go with those?
Can I borrow this?
You may, absolutely.
Thank you.
Go right ahead. And then you can just fold those in.
Oh, again?
You're folding again.
I'm folding in again.
Folding in the cheese.
And you're folding in the cheese and the noodles. Fold, 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 fold. Yeah.
Awesome. Then the last thing we're going to do here in order to make our crab portion of this is actually just fold in some crab at the very end. You do not want to be rough with this. This is where you're going to want to be gentle. Crab meat is delicate, and we don't want to just turn it into like crab sandpaper. So we're You're going to take your crab. I prefer to use a claw meat. It's a little bit more expensive than using like the mixed meat, but it's a little bit more delicate and sweet, and it won't get lost, but it also won't take away from the fact that we made IPA mac and cheese. So we're going to go ahead and we'll take about, I'm going to go here with my hands. They're clean. We're just going to do about half of this. I don't want to be crazy.
Half of the, I don't know how many ounces that is, but
it's an 8 ounce, so about 4 ounces or half cup of crab meat, and then just gently kind of fold those over. I'm gonna rinse my hands off really good.
I will tell you, the smell that is at Oak Road Brewery right now is incredible. I don't want to say better than the beer smell, which I also love, but the smell's good.
It's a great pairing.
It's a great pairing.
All right, so what we're gonna do is scoop this over into our baking dish. I'm gonna again let Amanda have her.
Just FYI, you're a wonderful teacher.
Thank you.
Or cook professionally. It's one or the other.
All right, and once that's ready, we're gonna go into our oven, and probably about 375 degrees for 20 minutes or so, just till the top of it's brown and bubbly. And we'll throw that one in and show you guys what it looks like when it's done.
Whoa.
Here we are with our finished product.
Hold on.
And
you can't have a finished product without trying it.
I knew that she'd come through clutch.
That's the rules. And also, again, the aroma, delicious. Okay, it's going to be hot.
It is going to be like lava, so please don't burn yourself.
I won't. Cheers.
This is a very big bite. I'm just going to do one noodle.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my God. You're a master.
I do what I can.
You are a master. Well, if you're not making this, I'm not sure what you're doing.
It's pretty fantastic. So what you'll need to do is come to Oak Road Brewery, get a 32-ounce crowler of Contra Code, take that home, make your mac and cheese, and then drink the rest of it as a pairing so you can just keep those notes going.
And have your friends come over and show them what a wizard you are in the kitchen, just like Drew.
Absolutely.
You're the best. Thank you.
Of course.